Stepping back, when you look at the vast number of organizations or non-profit organizations that are involved in charity work in the United States, do you see any unique characteristics that are relevant to the Muslim non-profit organizations?
And this is a good question as well, because technically all organizations that are charitable and serving the downtrodden and the poor and the vulnerable at risk in society, all of them are fairly common in their mission. What sets aside and should set aside the Muslim non-profit organizations are that their mission is not to necessarily only have sympathy for someone's condition. Their mission is to actively go and to harness the power, the local skills, the energy, the finances, the resources to be able to improve their condition, not by way of having pity on them. These organizations don't pity somebody or blame them for their poverty or blame them for their particular condition, but rather to say that you are just like us. Today we are blessed. Today you are tested. And we want to help you to improve your well-being and your conditions and your quality of life. And here's what we're doing, knowing all the while that it is God, Allah, who is in charge, and that Allah ultimately will improve the condition of all of these people. And the Quran also tells us that all of this that we're doing is not for, and many organizations get caught up in the public relations, in the credit and the accolades. And in the Quran it clearly tells us that you should be doing all of this charitable activity seeking the countenance of Allah. And the verse says, إِنَّمَا نُطْعِمُكُمْ لِوَجْهِ اللَّهِ لَا نُرِيدُ مِنْكُمْ جَزَاءً وَلَا شُكُورًا, which is, the translation says that indeed we feed you seeking the countenance of Allah, and that neither do we seek from you reward nor thanks. And that, I think, is what separates the Islamic organizations, the Islamic charitable organizations, from the others, because these are the mission, this is the mission, and these are the objectives. And we try to achieve closeness to Allah, knowing that ultimately He changes the condition, but we do it knowing that we don't pity them. And in fact, a very famous nurse, Florence Nightingale, there's an article about her by Sheikh Hamza Yusuf on her visits in her early years before she became a nurse, to Egypt, and in the early time of the British Empire. And she wrote, and the phrase that's very important for us to remember is, she wrote of the charity that appeared in England and Europe and other places was a charity of patronage, of acting as if we have and you don't, and therefore we are somehow having a favor upon you. And she said that the Muslim charity reminded her of a charity of fellowship, that you are a brother, you are a sister just like me, and that you deserve what I have, and you deserve to have as what I have, and I will give of what I have, and to convey that sense. And that's the spirit that really goes through community service for all of us.
Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. We certainly, that was very enlightening in terms of the aspects of community service in the United States and inshallah in the rest of the world. We thank you very much for your time, we thank you for coming in here tonight. With this, inshallah, we'll end. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One of the brothers in the Dawah group told me that, Imam, it is our goal to give every American a copy of the Quran.
The question is simple. Are we ready to support this noble effort? Share what we've been blessed with? Islam. We invite you to join and support 877Y Islam. Let's gain the pleasure of Allah by fulfilling our collective obligation to serve His deen.